Oh, hi. There you are.
Hi there.
Welcome to
Is that Doomruck?
B&B.
You know who? Yeah, B&B.
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 That's right. Bed and breakfast.
Bogans and Banter.
Bogans and banter.
Where's some Bogans? We're gonna banter.
We got to banter because we're Aussies, right? Where's me beer?
This is our alpha. Our alpha wolf.
Do you like the beer, Bailey?
Oh yeah, it's really good.
It's home brewed. Alright. So
Tastes like tears in misery.
Ooh, that sounds like a griefer thing to say. If you have been watching, obviously you may have seen episode 1.
Yeah,
have you
we
been
did
watching? We did it. We finally got it out to people. So
I've watched it.
I'll drink to that. I've experienced it.
I've done both, you know.
Yeah, you know.
I don't take notes during the session, so I need to find out what happened somehow.
Look, that's pretty much me too. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm DM.
You're the DM.
So Peter,
Yeah.
what are you thinking about Sheth at the moment with a head first misty step, no regrets?
Well, I don't want to give too much away because I want people to enjoy the next episode. Stuff that we've discussed outside of session has... How to answer this without giving anything away?
Tough.
You're boned.
You're dead.
He realises that he's probably going to take some hits, and he's okay with that.
But it's all for sort of protection, right? Because I mean, if you give in to one set of bandits, what's to say you don't just give in all the time? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm thinking as Sheth. He's experienced as a bounty hunter. He's experienced stuff, so
Yeah.
and he knows what it's like on the road.
Totally.
If I get to live and keep my gold, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially 5v10 because let's face it, Lance is pissed-faced. He is probably going to fall
99%.
That
Wasn't
may
it?
be
It was
my
99%.
fault.
He got done with every single Never Have I Ever. There's nothing he hasn't done.
If you look at the first question that he went, oh yeah, and then he drank, and he's like, what do you mean? So that kind of preludes to the fact that he did it on every single
He
question.
didn't even know what was happening.
He's just drinking. Classic Aussie.
I mean, he's not used to people, so it kind of, I guess, stands to reason that he's just chugging all the time.
Yeah.
He's not used to human types at all, that's for sure.
He's a young elf. Like,
Yeah.
Lance, when we get to Lance, obviously, discussing his character, he's only about 80, which is very young for an
Which he
elf.
kind of half mentioned.
He did. He sort of drops it in the first episode.
But they reach
They reach sort of maturity,
physical maturity at the same rate as humans.
Yeah,
from
but for him, he's basically about the same sort of thing as a 16-year-old as an elf for him.
What I really love, and I don't know if the viewers picked up on it, but when he was saying he was from Zareth, and you were like, what? but like you played it in character.
Yeah.
I love that
Should
so much.
check
as
this
in
with the DM
as in the
beforehand.
NPC.
Yeah, he just did a full 180 with me. It's like, this is where I'm from, and then he's obviously, no, I've been here all my life. Huh? But you just roll with it. I guess that's what you
I
do.
thought it was good.
Yeah. So anyway, we should get to the actual topic at hand.
Dun, dun, dun.
Aloe vera, casting shatter everywhere.
It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
So let's recap. We were having a magical tournament after Sheth had summoned his sword in the middle of a busy tavern.
Yeah.
And Aloe vera would thought that she might try and counter that coolness with casting shatter in the kitchen. I just loved how everyone just stopped and went, what?
Yeah.
Because not only the dishes being shattered, but the dishy would have also been shattered too.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been a good time. And then
Probably a lot of other stuff and possible people as well.
Yeah, and the captain of the guard's just chilling in there too.
just having a convo with you guys, you know. So
Yeah, that would have been probably like, you're all under arrest.
and
Well,
I
we
think
didn't do
the
anything.
last sort of thing we must address is the MVP for NPCs. The MVP NPC. I think everyone had a good time with
Henry.
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 Oh, yeah.
Scary.
The chef definitely was not expecting, and no one else knows about it. No other characters know about it.
That's right. So it's your little secret.
Yeah,
I just love the
Which is-
complete like.
not to make it about this episode's about this fella, but
It's about the
but
first episode.
that's a huge thing for him as a character because he's wondering about some stuff.
He's
Well,
got
that's-
issues.
Now he's got a friend that can give him a little bit of bacon and eggies.
Oh, a couple of bacon and eggs.
Oh, just a wee bit of bacon and eggies.
The fact that that's just an act, Chef's not gonna be sure how he can control himself
Yeah.
with not he's probably gonna have a time where he just laughs in front of the party about it.
If the rest of the party ever finds out, it's gonna be he's gonna become the big bad evil dude, all this betrayal of
So much betrayal. Oh man, that'd be hilarious. But as I said, it's just wonderful what you can do with everything. Hey,
Yeah.
it can go one way, it can go another way. But yeah. And then obviously you have Marcus, Dragonborn monk. What a guy.
what a lizard.
If Jason can keep that accent up the whole way through this series, hats off to him.
Oh,
He's pretty good.
He's
with
not
that
doing
sort
too
of
bad.
stuff.
Hey?
yeah. I never I haven't really done a full voice for a character before because I'm always I'm gonna drop it.
Yeah.
I'm just unless you just play it off like a voice crack, that's gonna be pretty distracting.
Yeah, just or like it.
I've found that it's hard. In previous sessions, which we'll probably get into in previous stuff that we've played D&D.
We'll get into it. We're gonna dig deep.
Oh, gonna dig deep
Like,
tonight,
I've
boys.
I've come up with accents for my characters, but you slip in and out of it, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time. I've got an idea of what I want for Chef, but I keep sort of...
It can get tough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and as you kind of play the character, I feel you step more and more into your character's shoes.
Yeah.
Each section.
You start to become one with the character.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it happens.
for sure.
And the thing is, you develop the way that you are with the character as the campaign progresses, and this campaign's got huge life. Let me say it, I've spent many a night writing for this bad boy. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Until we all just
Until,
kill
you know,
each other.
TPK session 2 with bandits.
all those crossbow men.
No, it would be a pretty dick move as a DM to kill you guys off. So there's obvious... I reckon you guys are going to handle it. Each of you have a good kit to deal with this sort of a thing. Yeah. And, I mean, bandits are only 1/8 challenge rating, guys. Come on.
Oh, metagaming? Not hearing it? Not hearing this?
Where's Micah? Metagaming? Oh dear. Alright, so anyway, we should probably get into you, because people don't have time to watch this, so stay, please.
Are you kidding me? They watched a 3-hour D&D.
Yeah, alright, whatever. Take it easy. So, Bailey.
Love you.
Bailey, everyone. Yes.
What's up? I'm Bailey, also known as
put
Barack.
Barack Obama.
It's actually, I don't know why, but when I was thinking of a name, I thought of Varric from Dragon Age.
Yeah.
The dwarf dude with the crossbow.
Yes.
But it's not even spelt anywhere near the same. I just
Isn't
thought
Varric,
of the...
isn't Varric from RuneScape? When you used to
Oh yeah,
teleport to
true. As well.
Varrock?
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
Varrock.
Varrock.
Yeah.
RuneScape
going
goes
back.
with the days.
Yeah, go to the Grand Exchange.
Everyone was like,
Jason-
I want to be like Zezima and fight the cow fight queen.
Jason managed to log into his old RuneScape account 8 months ago.
Oh.
Holy crap.
And he has 99 everything, doesn't he?
Something
He's
like
full
that.
freak. Full
Yeah.
freak RuneScape.
Yeah.
That's a day. RuneScape. That was before WoW was out. That was grade 8 for me. I
Oh.
literally met my group of friends through RuneScape.
Grade 8 for you. Yeah,
Anyway.
we won't get into what that was.
We got to stop this. This dog, he's all over you, man. Can you control him?
I don't know. It's not my dog.
He's
It's
not
just a
ranger.
random
He's
dog.
not
I
a ranger.
picked
That's
up.
Lance's job. That's
Yeah,
Lance's
that's
job.
Lance's
Beastmaster
job.
Lance's job.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Alright, well, anyway. Bailey.
Yep.
So, if you guys don't know, Bailey is actually doing all the editing for the videos on the channel. So,
Including this one. So, sorry.
From editing out very, very vulgar comments that one person made in our campaign to...
I love how seamlessly that actually came together,
it
and it's
was
one of my
really
favorite
good.
joke moments of the
I
session.
know. I think one of my favorite things is because you see Jason go, I'm a terrible human being, and then all of us at that point are like, no, and then he just comes out
And
with
then
like...
Matt's just because you're a dragonborn.
Yeah, that's the
Matt
best part.
saved it.
That's the best part. Lance, yes, because you are a dragonborn. That was great. It was good. Hats off.
Wait.
Yeah,
Excuse
you won't ever find out what that joke was, I don't
Yeah,
think.
I think YouTube would be like, see ya, mate.
But if you want a Patreon for all those edited out comments, let us know.
Yeah, we might look into creating something for you. All the outtakes.
Natty 1, R.
Wait, dog, could you chill?
Alright. Well, anyway. So, I'll give you a bit about Bailey, because obviously I asked Bailey to join in this campaign because sort of playing D&D as we do as friends, and, Jason, I ended up being in Jason's campaign for a bit. Jason was running a pretty cool campaign till he's like, no, I'm too busy, so sick one.
As
But,
most DMs do get busy.
Too much. But we met, obviously me and Micah, we ended up going to play, and Bailey was there, and Bailey was just this really, really soft-spoken dude, not saying too much. And then he introduces his character as a turtle monk with a drinking problem. And
the dream,
yeah, the dream,
where he wakes up to just getting. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" And then he realizes it's puke. That one of the other characters is spewed
it was
into,
my
into
character.
his
My
shell.
character tried to make a drink. Remember, he just helped himself behind the bar.
Yeah.
Mixed this cocktail that was horrendously bad. Has gotten himself full sick and is spewed in Baku's shell.
Yeah.
And to sort of put things into context, Baku was a drunken master monk, right?
Yeah.
So, here's this character. That was the last character I saw of Bailey, which was this really funny, almost comical relief character as a turtle monk getting
He was
blasted all the
quite
time.
docile.
Yeah, and then he's gone to Barak in this
Yeah,
campaign.
well, sometimes you need to just play a happy-go-lucky drunken turtle. Sometimes you need
As
to...
you do.
what else would you do?
Calm down, you
Teenage
doofus.
Mutant Ninja Turtles plus VB. What more could you want?
VB Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh man.
And then,
where is the sponsorship?
And then, now I'm playing Barak, a very kind of different character.
Yeah, he is. So we'll get into Barak in a second, but, a little bit of a step down. What got you into D&D, buddy?
Well, I feel like a lot of people, I kind of heard, bits and pieces. Dog.
No, it's too late. He's too far. It's too far gone.
I'll just hold him. There we go. Heard bits of D&D kind of, I feel like, all throughout, schooling and stuff, but, it was very, I guess, the ultimate nerd thing still back then. It's only kind of started getting less and less kind of, nerdy image, but, so I always wanted to play it. I'm like, oh, that seemed interesting, as a fan of, role-playing games like Skyrim and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I found out Jason played D&D. I was like, oh, you should hit me up. You should play, it'll be fun. And then, a year or two later.
Then you did 2 campaigns with him before we did.
Did a couple
we
of
did that one
campaigns
with
a lot of people trying D&D for the first time, so you switch around players so much, so every time we switch would be like, well, rolling a new character.
Yeah,
which
get those 46 boys.
some of the people who were new, I got to sort of.
Oh, you've got a great story, don't you?
Yeah, we'll leave that for when it's
that's for the R. That's for the Natty 1 R edition.
Yeah, that's going to be R-rated, that one.
Oh, man, I love that story.
You can't be like, I love that story. Oh, yes. No.
No, it builds anticipation.
Oh,
now,
yeah, that's right.
Now they'll be like, oh, what's the story?
Subscribe.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. But anyway, this is about this fella. But I was sort of, because I lived with Jason and his wife, and I was sort of at home when these guys were playing their session on a Sunday Arvo, and some of the new people to D&D, very very uptight types, is the way I would put it. Considering it's completely made up. As much as we're serious about it, we enjoy it like crazy. We like the immersion. Some of the people that Bailey had to, and they're friends, which is great, but they're probably not the right kind of people to play D&D.
Yeah, fair.
No. So you hear some things, but then we were playing pretty tame. If you've ever been on Reddit, D&D Nightmares or something.
Oh dear.
Some of the stuff.
Actually.
I've watched a video
There's
of a guy.
some people and their roleplay is very interesting.
Just beating people in real life, yo. All right. So the real question now.
Yep.
This defines a D&D player. 2 questions actually. I've changed my mind. I'm going off script.
Oh, going off script. We're doing it live.
Okay, rule number 1. Not rule number 1.
Damn.
Question number 1. How
We're
much
not
money
cutting
have you
that out.
spent on dice?
I know a lot of people have spent a lot of money on dice. I got mine on Wish. I got a coupon on... No. AliExpress, not Wish.
Not Chinese checkout.
No,
No.
not Chinese. I got a coupon. It was like spend over like $20, get $15 off or something. So I bought $20 worth of like sets of dice, which are like, $1 or $2
Yeah.
each, and I think I got like 6 or 7 like sets of dice. At the time, I was playing with friends from high school. Gave all of them a set. Still had like 3 or 4 left over. But yeah, but ultimately only like $5-10 on dice because I'm a cheapskate, and I was like, I'm gonna get the crappiest plastic dice I can.
I think a lot of people go for Wish and
Yeah.
AliExpress.
They do.
I
hey?
have, and have you guys seen the video of the Wish warehouse?
No.
Yeah, and they literally it's
It's
a
just
mountain, and
a
they're standing
mountain
on
of
it, and they're
stuff.
just putting it onto a conveyor belt. It's
No
crazy.
wonder, no wonder stuff
Comes broken.
turns up broken or
Yeah.
takes
Or
forever
just doesn't
to
turn up at
arrive.
all.
Yeah, I think my dice took a month or 2, and I was like just waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, this one was dated 3 months ago. Maybe we should make sure it gets on the.
Yeah. All right, and then question number 2: rules as written or rule of cool?
Oh, that's tough.
Or
Odd-
as Peter Quill would say, a bit of both.
Mm.
Sneaky bit.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I'm definitely probably lean towards more the rule of cool, because I mean it can be fun to like I guess game the systems, and that's real good. It can be fun to like game the systems and like math out everything and stuff, and when you start adding more cool in, you kind of lose control in that.
Yeah.
But I'm a games designer. I know all the stuff that goes in the background in games, and it's kind of cool to just be able to make stuff up without real limitations. Like
I think it's important, especially as a DM, to sort of facilitate the ability for rule of cool. Like as long as it sort of relates back to the rules,
yeah.
it's fine to do it. Like for
If it's
example,
not
if someone wants to do
ignoring
some janky shit where they dive between a person's legs
Yeah.
and try and cut, like,
Unless they're a halfling.
then they just run.
Run holding the knife up.
But yeah, chuck in an acrobatics check, make it a bit interesting,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like
No,
for
for sure.
example,
So that's in that case, if the halfling just runs with their knife up, they're aiming. They said they rolled a natty 1 on trying to cut the person's bag of holding, and they cut the wrong bag.
oh my. Well, I mean, technically they are a bag of holding, right? Anyway,
Taking care of the jewels.
Oh man. All right, so let's get down to some of the ideas. Why Barrack? Like, tell us a bit about what came about and how Barrack came to be.
So, Barrack was... I got kind of asked late to be a part of this campaign. Like,
Yes, you did. Hey.
a couple weeks before starting, and I was just like, oh, I need a character. So I have a kind of weird thing for characters. I actually just go on Hero Forge, and I start just clicking on stuff.
Make something look cool.
Yeah, and then I get something that looks cool, and I'm like, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I feel like a lot of people kind of do that in reverse. But so I made the mini of the dude, got the Crocodile Dundee / Indiana Jones hat,
Yeah.
cape, eye patch, his hairstyle he has, and then I was like, oh, this dude looks like he's like seen some shit, like he's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
how I saw the first iteration you had of him, and I'm like, oh damn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I kind of like, okay, looks like he's been through some stuff. So then I kind of took from, I guess, like different mediums. Like I took like Castlevania Netflix anime adaptation, kind of the Belmonts, kind of like how they act and are. Bit of Geralt from The Witcher.
Yeah.
Um,
That's interesting you say that. That's cool. Yeah.
And actually, kind of as we were playing last session, I think I might sprinkle a bit of Hound in there too.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Here comes the language.
That was literally like Barrack when he's in like with the other Grievers. I was like, oh, this is just like me playing the Hound at the moment. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. Where's my fried chicken? Spoilers. He does not get fried chicken. You've seen it here first. Well, anyway, tell us a bit more about Barrack. So, like, his personality, alignment, all that sort of stuff that no one really cares about on the character sheet.
Yeah. as far he
Some
is,
people just want the combat and or just the roleplay.
I just want to roll my dice. I'm one of those people when it comes to character sheets. Like, yeah, I'll put alignment and stuff on there, but I'm always one to more just kind of play and just see what happened. Like, this kind of other stuff's kind of at the back of my mind. So he is a lawful neutral.
Yep.
He's not particularly good, bad, as neutral implies. He has his own kind of code and things he'll adhere to as a lawful neutral character.
So it might just be worth quickly describing alignment to people, because some people don't actually understand what alignment means.
I don't even understand what it means.
Lawful neutral, I think.
It's sort of like
So
an
lawful,
internal
the
moral
difference,
code.
the
I
difference
guess.
between lawful and chaotic. If you've got lawful here, lawful you very, very closely adhere to a set code.
Yeah.
So whether that's the law of a city, whether it's the law of an order that you're a part of, you follow that. So for example, a paladin are going to be very lawful. They're going to follow the code, uphold virtue, honor, and that sort of thing.
Yep.
If you're chaotic, you tend to delve off some sort of code and you just act in your own interest. And that's pretty much chaotic.
Yeah.
in that sort of sense.
Yourself above.
And you can just kind of
That's
do
where people get it
whatever
wrong.
almost.
So good is normally being good, helping
Yeah.
others, altruism, that sort of a thing. Being evil is wanting to go against that sort of balance of good.
Yeah.
And then neutral is just 50-50, sitting on the fence about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So being lawful
case
neutral
by case kind of thing.
means, you're pretty much, you've got your code, you're in it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's sort
and
of reset.
that puts like Barrack to a T,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, cool. Just because I know it took me a while to get alignment, because
Yeah.
I used to be like, this is my character, I'm chaotic neutral. It's like, well, you're not, you're neutral good. I'm like,
Yeah.
getting shut down. So.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, and we've discussed alignment on and off as a group, like outside of campaigns and stuff. Like when we're setting up, and it's kind of been commonality between everyone that your role play's gonna kind of determine your alignment.
Yeah.
As much as you try and keep it in mind, I think everyone kind of brings a little bit of themselves to their character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially when they're brand new characters like we've got.
Yeah.
Like we haven't really role played them. This is like I don't know if we've mentioned it, but we've started obviously at level 3.
Yeah.
Because Hexblades get there.
I always find that sort of, especially if you're starting at that awkward transition from level 1, 2, or 3, because it's like you don't really get to role play that specific order that you get put into, because I assume that would take years if you're getting into that order and the training for that. So it's nice
especially
to start
if you're something like a cleric or whatever,
Yeah.
like you're meant to be following this.
Clerics are lucky because they get to pick their domain at level 1.
Oh yeah, they
So
do.
wizards pick their school level 2, which is sort of awkward. But it's like you'd think if they're a wizard, then all of a sudden they just know necromancy. It's like
and then sorcerers don't get their sorcerer's origin until level 3.
Sorcerer's Origin's level 1. They
Level
get their
1.
meta magic at level 3.
Yeah.
So
Look,
there's
look at us players not knowing stuff.
Oh, and
No, for example, warlocks get their pact at level 3. Blood hunters get to pick their order at level 3. Like so that's why I picked level 3 to start out. It's a nice little round place to start.
Don't you mean grievers get to pick their order at level 3?
Yeah, all right. Oh, you're cheeky.
Speaking of blood hunters,
Yeah, well, how about we talk about alignment. So, what flaws and bonds would you say that Barrack has?
Some I don't want to give away too much because
cheeky.
yeah, Barrack's got some secrets, mate.
Boy, he's sneaky.
Just
hey.
a few bit
If
of
I was to
secrets.
ask you about your goals, are you going to be like, "Oh, it's on the DL"?
Oh no, I think I can give you a little bit, just
a little bit of
goals.
sausage.
Just a little bit of sausage.
me as another player, I don't really. I'm kind of like I like the role play and the story to unravel things as it comes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So kind of
Sorry.
very basically at the moment he is trying to gain power. Very simply, like I guess in D&D terms, he wants to level up.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of, I guess, he understands his own weakness.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to overcome this, which is kind of like at the end of the session with the bandits, he's like, I don't want to die at the moment, like just take my money. Like he kind of knows that if he was by himself, he couldn't take on this many people, and he doesn't really know, like, he knows Chef can summon a cool ass sword,
Yeah.
But like
He doesn't know anyone else's abilities, really.
Yeah,
Or
doesn't
he knows that Olivera can summon a hand that lets her drink with it.
yeah, and grab someone's ass.
Yeah, his hand. Yeah.
But like, yeah, so he was very much like, yeah, let's. You know what? That's a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
when he thought it was only one enemy, he was like, yeah, we can do this easy.
and
But yeah, hearing all the crossbows, it's like, you know what? Fair.
Oh, maybe he's not joking. Yeah.
Might have not been a bluff. You know what?
It'll be pretty interesting. But anyway, sort of unraveling a bit more. So Blood Hunters,
Yeah.
fairly new sort of class in the D&D world.
Made
Pretty
by-
awesome concept created by the wonderful Matt Mercer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure everyone knows.
Yeah.
No, they're watching. No, we're the popular like D&D
Yeah,
stream.
Matt Mercer's got nothing on us. He said, lyingly. So if just for people who don't know, people might not know how Blood Hunters work. How do they work in the sense of combat and even just play style regarding rules and stuff?
Yeah, so Blood Hunters are kind of in a weird place. They function, actually, as far as like gameplay goes, very similar to a Hexblade Warlock. They're that kind of caster fighter middle ground. You can you do get, is it combat proficiencies? So you can take
So
you can be
certain ones. I believe.
yeah. So you can be like a ranged blood hunter and stuff as well. But Barak himself is a melee fighter, has 2 weapons.
He has a flail, doesn't he?
A
That's
flail
pretty cool.
and
I
a
don't
long
see many
sword.
characters using a flail.
I've just got in my head just thinking of that scene from Braveheart, where you just see like they called it a mace in the movie, but it's not a mace.
Yeah.
But you just see the flail just come down on the person's face in that one scene, and that's the stuff that I'm just like,
Here
oh
it
damn.
comes.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking through all the weapons. I'm like, people don't use this stuff. Like, I want to use it.
Yeah. There's because he also has a whip as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a whip.
Yeah.
You'll see that on the mini.
Yeah,
He's-
but he
the
mainly
whip.
uses a flail and a sword.
Yeah,
Short sword.
at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can eventually find some ways to better work the whip in.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's kind of, again,
The
the
whip.
Belmont thing. Watch me whip.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Watch
man.
me flail.
But, so obviously Blood Hunters also get some other cool
Yeah.
abilities like the Blood Maledicts and stuff like that.
Yep,
That's,
they get Blood Maledicts, which is essentially a spell they can cast once every short rest at level 3. They can also empower that, sacrificing some of their HP to add additional effects to those Blood
Yeah.
Maledicts. And they also get access to the Crimson Rites, which they can take some damage and coat their blade in different elements.
yeah. And essentially, you being a griefer in this world, grievers follow the order of the Ghost Slayer
Yep.
type of order.
Yeah, so that's the Blood Hunter Order of the Ghost Slayer is one of the orders you can choose at level 3.
And so basically it means you almost sort of tap into a bit more of a holier sort of radiant power of
Yes.
the Ghost Slayer to deal with undead, fiends, fae, that sort of thing.
Yeah, very much so. They get advantages and not advantages. They can sacrifice less of their health
Yeah.
to be able to coat their weapons with this radiant light to help them with dealing with ghosts. And later they get various things like extra attacks and being able to actually like almost become a ghost in a sense.
Yeah.
Like become a specter while fighting.
Ooh, Spectre.
Mm.
That's awesome. So the big thing now is Barak and Lance. Are they
Bromance.
boys?
The bromance.
The
Are they
boys.
lads?
The boys.
How laddish are they on a scale to 1 to VB?
They're pretty VB. I mean, they played
Very,
Never
very,
Have I Ever.
very buds.
Yeah, they've played Never Have I Ever together.
That's pretty much the right in Australia.
Yeah,
I
He's
still
played
can't
Never
believe-
Have I Ever.
I still
That's it.
can't believe we played a drinking
drink
game
game in D&D.
inside D&D.
Aussie D&D at its best. Somehow.
See, yeah.
You've been warned there are bandits around and that you've got to be careful. Even Chef and Marcus are like, let's try and lure them to us. What do? Play a drinking game.
Well, Chef was like, "Are we sure we want to do that?" Remember, I said,
yeah.
I said, I'm like, "Do we want to do that, or we want to try and be off the beaten track a bit and hide?" And Lance was all for it, like, and even Oliveira
Yeah.
was like, well, let's try and
Get some cash.
Yeah.
Let's get some gold.
They wanted 2 birds with 1 stone. It seems like a possibility that the bandits might get.
We need
6
to
birds
get
with
our
1
murder
stone.
hobo,
Yeah.
our murder hobo out somewhere. you
Yeah,
know?
that's right. It's good. You got to get it out.
Yeah, well,
you can't play D&D without
we,
it.
we stifled it with those kiddos, you know. Didn't.
Wait, was that ever on the agenda to murder some
Remember,
children?
you said that. You said you guys are supposed to be murder hobos. This isn't D&D.
Yeah, because we were being real
With
nice
children?
to them.
I'm a terrible person.
You said that after
It's
that.
a new joke here. Alright.
That's because you're a DM, you're not a person.
I'm multiple people.
Can we gonna
Indeed.
be murder hobos?
Can we gonna be murder hobos? No one is going to get that. That's our joke. We find it funny.
It'll come out.
It will, eventually. Just like oregano came out somehow. We brought that in. Oregano.
You know, as soon as we've like made that comment in the intro video, I've heard people saying it like more and more, and I've never like thought about it
Yeah,
before.
exactly.
Now every time someone
It was
says
like
it,
it was like when I first learnt in high school that the way that Aussies spelt jail was completely different to everyone else, and it's
Gaol.
Gaol. It's really stupid spelling.
It's phonetic though.
Jail, jail. I guess it does make sense. But I say it as gall, gall, gall.
We're based on British English,
Yeah,
so
that's right. So
you know,
God
correct
save
English.
the Queen. Okay. Well, yeah. So that's a little bit about Barrack. So we're going to try and bring out a little bit about each character on the off week. So just so people know, better get them in the loop.
Yeah.
Don't set yourself afire.
It's flaming. Mozzies.
Who's the fire
Oh
genasi?
wait. Mozzies.
Is the DM the fire genasi?
Mozzies. Do you reckon the US will get what Mozzies are? All right. So
No.
wait. Let's give a couple more Aussie lessons. So, pretty much, Australia has a culture of laziness. So
That's
any
true.
sort of slang or talking that we try and do, we pretty much just shorten it as much as possible. So, for example, natty 1 obviously is natural 1.
Yeah.
Natural 1, 3 syllables. Natty 1, 2 syllables. So we're winning there. I mean, we could go.
And it
nat-
sounds better. It sounds better.
We could go nat 1, but you know, really,
I actually hear a lot of people say that.
natty 1 or nat 1.
Nat one.
Nat 1.
It's like got a nat one. It just doesn't have the same
It's
like
like
kick
natty.
to it.
It's like oh,
Yeah.
get a
It
little
don't-
bit of a thrill.
Yeah.
So you know that's it. So mozzies, in the Aussie slang, is short for mosquitoes, which we do get some very very big bloodsuckers here.
Yep.
Down under.
Not as big as D&D though, but pretty close.
Not like the old. What are those things called? Sturges. That one.
Yeah.
The old Sturgies. Yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you, mate. I mean, but everything's trying to kill you down here in Australia. Snakes, spiders. You know.
Children.
DMs.
So anyway, we better sort of delve a bit more into the lore because there's really no place that people can look it up but on this video here. So Grievers.
Someone get on that wiki.
So unfortunately, Mr. Matt Chalker couldn't be here tonight because he's got the flu. But
I'm just getting over it.
yeah, it's not about you.
I know.
It's about him. I'm kidding.
He's
So
not
Matt
kidding.
Chalker,
He hates
actually, Matthew Chalker, he plays Lance Arion in our campaign. He's the one on the left who's always on his phone,
Yeah. How long was he on his phone?
who was looking up rules apparently.
There was one point where I was trying to do.
Metagaming.
Oh,
There was one point I was trying to do something in D&D on Beyond, and like on my
On
phone.
D&D on Beyond. It's
I
my
can
favourite.
English. You know, sometimes we just like to add words too.
he's he's only just learned common.
Yeah.
That's
So-
it.
He spoke Undercommon before that.
But yeah, I sat on my phone for a good 5 minutes, like scrolling back and forth between the menus.
What? So, well, anyway, Matt Chalker has been
Yep.
one of my best friends since high school, and we've been playing D&D together about probably 5-6 years.
Did you meet him on RuneScape too?
Yes-ish. I met him through a
Ish.
friend of mine who was on RuneScape, so
It's close enough.
it all comes back to RuneScape. It's great. It's amazing. Wow. But essentially, Griefers was actually in one of Matt's campaigns that I was in. He created the whole concept of Griefers, and he's got a phenomenal amount of lore behind it. Like, I'm probably about half into
Okay.
what his is. So mine, the way I put it into this world, into Shire and Drenathor, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah. So all credit goes to Matt for creating Grievers. Really,
Good on you, Matt.
you know, probably as people will start to see, a lot of sort of essence has been taken, like from the idea of witches.
Yeah.
So very sort of similar, but very different as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole sort of blood hunter class does sort of derive a bit from witches.
Yeah.
That whole sort of thing of taking that alchemical concoction and getting these new powers and altering their physiology. Very Geralt. Yes.
Yeah.
So, what can you tell us about Grievous, Bailey? What that I already don't know, but you know.
That you don't know.
Go on, try me, bitch.
I'll just start making shit canon.
Oh no! He said it on the interview thingy.
Level 3 actually equals level 30 in true.
I get a level 9
take
sorcerer
backsies.
spell. I get one
Gets
cast
wish,
of
gets
wish.
I'm actually at level 20
Per day.
barbarian now.
No, so as Nick was saying, we take the Grievous take an alchemical concoction that kind of allows them to use their blood for various different magics.
Do they take that once, or like it's a one-time
So
thing?
the concoction's the first part of the ritual for a griever, and then the big one, which is sort of the life and death moment where life chooses a griever, is the transfusion.
Yeah.
So that whole idea of the mentor. So every griever's going to have a mentor. So Barak would have had a mentor.
Yeah.
We'll find out about him hopefully. Hopefully he's a cool guy. But he essentially would have, really, really ramshackle style transfusion, just plastic tubing and a needle, and then he would have just started siphoning his blood to you.
He actually thought it was his H.
Ooh. And obviously,
I've got a dark sense of humour.
Yeah, it is dark. So you're
No, it's not.
obviously a grief of blood, much more sort of heavier, laced with magic, laced with power, and either a human, or not just human, but any sort of person's body is going to accept or reject it.
Yeah.
Obviously Barak didn't, and most of that will come with some sort of physiological change.
And
Fizzy change.
Fizzy. That's
And
a
for-
new Aussie.
It's a new one.
So does the physical? This is like questions. I don't want you to answer if you want to keep it for revealing the campaign. Physiological changes, are they immediate, or are they going to drag out? What are you thinking?
Sorry, I went somewhere else because you did this with your eyes. Physiological changes.
That's what I was thinking too. Just
I was like,
So Barak's actually trans.
It's a current agenda in politics at the moment. Anyway, so
Anyway, let's not even get into that.
Ooh, just after the Aussie elections. Go
Yeah,
mode.
yesterday.
Anyway,
So yeah, I don't. For Barak, they've kind of manifested in a blackening of his blood. So I don't know.
and that sort of explains why, with the scars on his
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
it's slightly blackish.
Matt's noticed it straight away.
Yeah. That was It's
Let's-
very It's kind of like I was trying to like hide that I was a griever, but like there's no way my character can do
That's
it.
what the hat was for, I suppose. A bit.
Yeah. I have like a bunch of scars that are all like black and gross. Scar across my eye that's all black and gross.
But
Like
do they get more mutations? If you don't want to reveal this stuff, by all means. But they get more mutations as they. It's just
It's
an
only
immediate
at the
thing.
process. Yeah.
Okay.
So for example, if you remember, what was his name again? That dude, Jay. So the tiefling. What you would have seen is that the tiefling, even though he's a tiefling, had very like feline cat-like eyes.
Yeah.
So once again, that sort of
Again,
physiological
very Witcher.
change.
No one but Barak was part of that. So,
Barak would have
which
seen
is
it,
cool.
but it's just like, the same thing. And also, one thing that you guys wouldn't have known, but Ryek, that was the dwarven.
Yeah.
No, it was the other guy. I can't remember. I'm getting confused. I need my notes. I'm not behind a screen.
Ryek was.
Ryek was the dwarf barkeeper. Then there was another dude who was the other griever,
Yeah.
but he had the
Yeah,
spike
spiky
armor,
armor.
like a barbarian battle rager.
Yeah.
But what you guys wouldn't know is that underneath, because we probably won't see him again, or you might, is that there's actual horns that have grown out of his shoulders as physiological
Wow.
change.
Damn, I wish I went with
Little
that.
little spoilers, but yeah. So that's why he wears that armor. It essentially the
Like
covers
covers over
covers it, but also protects it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Is it a shame thing, or they just don't want it to be noticed? kind of?
but essentially grievers. Well, I mean, this is what we get into. They carry the name of sort of doom and despair with them. Like if a griever is
like you
present
mentioned.
in a place, generally there's something bad happening in that place, and just that context of a griever being there to deal with the problem has sort of joined their reputation.
It's like if a griever's there, it's like, oh crap.
Is it like urban legend? Everyone knows about them, kind of thing.
Well, grievers
And-
are a common knowledge. There's a couple of orders where, or if you can call them orders, there's no real sort of griever, like, order in a sense, but there's lots of networks of grievers where they'll join together and work together. There's three main ones in Drenithor as well, which if once we actually get a lore sheet and put it all out there, it'll be on there. But the main one that would be is the Banishers, and the Banishers is basically a massive. If you've seen Van Helsing, you remember that one with Hugh Jackman, good old Aussie mate. But you remember how like underneath the Vatican there's like the sort of like underground vampire hunting thing. It's like that. They work together, and they have all the lore and stuff that they can use to help each other. It's like the Men of Letters from Supernatural. They're an actual order though, but whatever. But so that's a bit more like delving way into the lore. But so essentially you wouldn't have had.
Yeah, Barrack's a fairly new griever, so a lot of stuff he kind of doesn't really know. Like he only knows what's happened to him in his experiences.
Yeah.
So I guess with what you were saying before about how getting to level 3 as a character they've had so much backstory before that, I guess to a point you had their history of their past of each whatever character. Chef has his own, Barrack has his, where he's probably gone through stuff that led up to that, which I'm looking forward to finding out. So
you're never gonna find it. No one will know.
even if my character doesn't find out, I'll just say Chef isn't concerned about him. He's intrigued, but he's not concerned. Anyway,
but it's going to be really interesting to see how the Grievers come into things, and just also because what we got to remember as well is once you show up to places, some people are like, oh. Something treated with that sort of strangeness.
And I've kind of been warned already that there's people out looking to hunt grievers. So
and the reason Chef's not like like you said, you recognise that trouble happens. With him being Hexblade, which only Marcus really knows. Everyone else is just like he's got a magical sword.
Yeah, he's just
Marcus doesn't really know what it is, but he knows more than everyone else.
Yeah.
He's kind of Chef is like I'm not going to judge this guy because what I've got is has its own sort of level of could be prejudged in a way.
Yeah,
that's as much as I'll say.
Yeah,
but he's not going to judge Barrack on hearsay and what other people think and what common opinions are.
Yeah, definitely. But it's actually really really nice because I mean, we'll get to that sort of later, and we'll get to the Pantheon a bit later in probably the next episode of B&B. But, obviously with you being a disciple of Ukan, who in this world is basically the Raven Queen, so balance, death, life, that sort of a thing, compared to someone, say, Kindra by Genasi, who is pretty much a disciple of Lumon as a light cleric, Lumon being light, virtue, honor, that sort of a thing. It'll be really sort of interesting to see how the different Pantheon of disciples merge together. So probably one last thing we'll cover before we say see you later is the calendar of the world, because I've obviously been dropping a lot of like in this cycle of the season of the blessing, like people are like okay.
Even for us it's still like trying to go now. I remember reading through this stuff.
We each need like our own little DM screen, but instead of like D&D rules, it's just like
a cheat sheet. So pretty much in the world of Drenithor, there is 6 seasons per cycle. So a cycle is a year. The cycle of seasons is what it's called, and each season has 40 days, or they're known as moons in this world, which is a fairly old term that was used anyway. So it's pretty much almost like a perfected cycle that, in terms of the elements and the way that it works, you can tell that there's some sort of divine hand that makes it so. Even though some of the different seasons might be quite unfair and quite tasking, and taxing, not tasking, it is still given. So there are 6 seasons. Currently you guys are in the Blessing, which is the second season. And this is the season that's sort of given by Josiah, just once again another god. She's the life giver, and that's sort of what in Feldenbrook they're celebrating at the moment, the Festival of Gifts. Gifts, I have to say it like that now, because gifts, just thanks Jason. So, the Blessing is a perfectly balanced month of weather. Not too cold, not too hot, as I sort of described. Rain comes and goes in patterns, and this month offers the perfect time for farmers to cultivate their crops. Many festivals and celebrations happen, blah, 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 that sort of thing. The next one is the downpour, so that's when it starts getting a bit more hectic. Massive storms sweep the land, so there are great storms and that sort of thing.
That's what, even though our characters weren't part of the conversation, that's what the guy from Zereth was talking to Lance about I need to get back to the ferry to go back very soon. Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah, because the downpour, sea travel at this time, very dangerous, especially in the Great Sea. Once we get into the geography sort of things, if you get caught in a great storm in the middle of the Great Sea, you're as good as dead.
Yeah.
There's no way that ships can weather that sort of frightening chaos and carnage, really.
Damage, yeah.
So that's sort of once again showing the power of the Storm Queen, Ellen, another god that come in. This is where the sort of Storm Seekers, which are tempest clerics essentially, they read the weather. They can read the weather and basically predict when things are going to happen, so people can take cover and prepare for the storms. So every single town will usually have a type of Storm Seeker within it. After the downpour comes the calm, which is just a season that's very bland, basic days of weather. Candles are lit most days in this time because it's leading towards the next season, which is the dark. And this is the time when, in the calm, obviously lots of sort of reverence is given to Favan, who is the big god. Because when the dark comes, the days are significantly less light, and then creatures of the night come to do the reaping, which is what Khan does. So the dark is basically the time when it's scary. You don't want to be caught. You don't want to be caught in the dark if you haven't given sort of
That's
the goods
when you
to
need
Favan.
lots of grievers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
After the dark comes the ether. So the ether is a time of sort of magical anomaly. So very strange sort of elements happen at this time, and it's the time when sort of magic items recharge, different magical elements recharge.
Cycling of ley lines and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of a thing.
Wow.
So that's what happens. Yeah, you guys are like, I haven't heard any of this.
I've read a bit, but I didn't really.
Yeah, and so the thing is as well, for a lot of the magical characters, it would be this season that their powers would actually awaken. So a lot of the sorcerers and stuff who have that inherent magic within them would sort of come out, and this is the time when it happens. And then that takes us back to the Scorch, which is the first season of a new cycle, and that's just a really, really big season of unforgiving heat. The Scorch is a bad time because a lot of the time you can't get from one place to another because horses and that sort of a thing don't travel because it's that much heat.
So it's like living in Australia.
yeah, exactly. So at this point, camels are the best thing, and that's what the Synergians use and that sort of thing. Yeah. So currently, in this world, we are in the 800th cycle. So there have been quite a lot of events that have transpired up to this point, which I'm sure your characters will find out in the near future. But that's basically the idea of it. Yeah. Calendars. Does that make sense, everyone? Cool. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's probably enough harping on, carrying on.
And
Enough banter with the
about.
Bogans.
Enough banter and Bogans for one night.
Oh, we could be BBB. We could be blokes. Bogan blokes and banter.
Bogan blokes and banter.
we've got two
We can,
girls though.
but they're not here now.
Yeah, that's right. But what happens if they do come here?
Broads.
Blokes.
Broads.
Oh.
Hey, there you go. Writing notes too. Alright, well anyway guys, thanks for tuning into this one in my backyard. Who would have thought it looks this cool with fire? But as I said, Mozzie's not good. So as I just in terms of scheduling, next Tuesday is when the next episode will drop. So 6 p.m. as per usual. And then on the off weeks like this week, we will be dropping videos like this just with a bit of lore and all that sort of stuff. But seriously, if you guys want to know any other things, we could make like a little question segment and answer your questions. It would be rad.
Reddit AMA.
So if you have any questions, like, talking about, different lore things that you might want to know, or,
Well, we've got
what deodorant Bailey uses.
We've got a Twitter now.
We do have a Twitter now, @Natty1DM.
Yeah. So I guess
No one knows how to use Twitter. I don't use Twitter.
I can type stuff into
I
it. That's
haven't
about
used
it.
Twitter in years.
Just got to retweet Matt Mercer and we'll win forever.
Flip.
All right. So if you haven't already, if you've just come here by some other crazy coincidence from another channel and watched this whole thing, kudos to you. Well done.
Yeah.
But check out the Instagram, and that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Twitter.
If this is
Reddit.
the first video, go back and watch festivals and
Yeah,
fellowships.
because none of this will make sense. We're just a
Yeah.
bunch of idiots talking nonsense. So check it out, and we'll definitely get that next one happening.
Yep.
We've got a couple of fun little videos planned. We're not afraid to be idiots in public, so that could be a bit of fun that you guys aren't used to. So keep subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, do it.
Hit the bell notification.
Yep.
Like.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I
So
don't
they get
even-
like notifications on their phone and
Yeah.
stuff.
Does it like explode?
No.
No, that wouldn't be a very good notification.
hit the Told the Dead notification button.
Told the dead.
Told the dead.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. We really appreciate the support, and we will see you in a week. Till then.
Sayonara.
Cheers,
Sayonara.
guys.